Everything except battery is inferior than a petrol car. Like the same car that I can buy for 8 lakhs, 16 lakhs was the electric version.
That's a good point that you brought up. If I remove this battery out of the equation, right, then you actually have an EV that's actually cheaper than its petrol variant. Right? So then you'll actually get, let's say, a 10 lakh petrol car versus an 8 lakh electric counterpart.
Great. Okay. Sorry, I have one more question. Very broad question.
Sure.
Is that I literally considered buying an electric vehicle, and I just could not bring myself to do it. Okay. So I just want to understand. I mean, I'll tell you my problems with it and how you guys are solving it. First of all, electric bike. I live in Andheri, and there is not much area for me to, like every time I go from Andheri to Bandra, it becomes like 12 kilometers.
Yeah.
So I can't go by a bike, I think. So I have not considered that. Although, I mean, maybe if I live in a better place as in a place which has more area to bike around, maybe I'll do that. But car, I really considered. Okay, I'm sure some of the challenges will overlap. The fundamental problem I found was that I was not getting peace of mind. Okay, I just felt like I'm paying a little bit extra money for a inferior car. Everything except battery is inferior than a petrol car. Like the same car that I can buy for 8 lakhs, the petrol car, 16 lakhs was the electric version. I think 16 or something like that at that time. The same car that I could buy for 15 lakhs with the electric version of 22 lakhs. Okay. Then the range that is quoted, if you take anecdotal evidence, people say all sorts of things, and you don't know if the range is correct or not correct. And I feel like if I own a car, when I need it, it should deliver, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And with the electric, I just could not get the confidence to buy that. So is this a common problem?
Absolutely.
Am I paranoid or
No.
like?
No, absolutely, right? This is a fair problem. You're not being too paranoid. I think if you just take a step back, the whole point of mobility is freedom. Why are you buying a car? I mean, from the time we started riding horses to like cycles to then more powerful cycles and then cars. Now you have Uber, Ola, where you just like get vehicle, don't get vehicle, right? So that's the sort of freedom and flexibility that we're so used to, so ingrained. And now there's this electric vehicle that's saying, hey, you got to plan your life around me versus me being there for you whenever you want, right? So I think that with every generation of mobility, we've had more freedom, we've had more accessibility. It's gotten cheaper. More people are able to afford it. Before only rich people had bikes. Now everyone's got a bike, right? And so that trend needs to keep continuing. And with EV, I think we've done this phase one of getting the vehicle better. Right. So if I go back to your example of comparing, and I think that's a good point that you brought up. If I remove this battery out of the equation, right, then you actually have an EV that's actually cheaper than its petrol variant. Right. So then you'll actually get, let's say, a 10 lakh petrol car versus an 8 lakh electric counterpart, which will actually be equal or better in every regard. It'll give you more acceleration. It'll feel better. It has no vibrations, whatever, right? So that problem is fixed. Then we got to solve for this whole battery and charging problem, right? So that's why we sort of split this into two equations, which is the vehicle better, is the vehicle cheaper, and then is the energy problem solved. So everything around charging, is it there for you, right? How quickly can you top it up? How long does a battery last, right? And that becomes a cost problem. So if you buy a vehicle and every 2-3 years you got to keep changing the battery, which is a significant portion of the cost, then this vehicle actually is not cheaper, right? It's more expensive. So then you fundamentally need a smaller battery that lasts really, really long, and that can also be topped up like you top up petrol whenever you feel like. Right? So that's the energy problem that, for example, we are solving. And I think that's phase two for this industry. Phase one is, I think in the last 10 years has been getting the vehicle to a superior place. And I think it's already achieved. In every category, electric bus or a two-wheeler or a auto, electric is better. So
Rightly said, right? I think there are two primary motivations of buying a EV two-wheeler, right? One is the cost. Second, at the back of the mind, it must be green. But of course, it is the cost. Why are people buying a electric two-wheeler or an electric car today, right? My cost per kilometer of my commute goes significantly low, almost to zero, next to zero, right? And that's the motivation that electric vehicles have already solved for. Now, the second motivation, as rightly said by Arun, is about solving for efficiency, solving for all these charging nuances, fast charging. I think a lot of companies, including theirs, are solving for it. In our use case, right? Our product is being used for someone by someone who's traveling around 3 to 5 kilometers radius. If they want to go beyond it, our our bike supports it. Our bike can go up to 40 kilometers, 50 kilometers, 70 kilometers, depends on what kind of usage do you have. Does your infrastructure support it? Is the question. So most of our sales today happening in tier 2, tier 3, tier 4 are primarily for the reason because the infrastructure is there for the support. People don't feel too fussed about driving on the roads, while as it is not the same case in tier 1s today. I think it will come down very, very soon. And yeah, that is where the real use case is sitting. So you'll have to look at this problem from use case to use case. If you really have a city use case only, and you shouldn't worry about buying an electric car today. All most of the electric cars are giving you range beyond 250, 300 kilometers, which solves for all your electric problems inside the society with charging.
Yeah, I mean 250 300 बोलने को तो बोल देते हैं, but I don't know. I basically जब मैं बॉम्बे से पुणे जा रहा हूँ, I don't want to be like, अरे भाई 40 किलोमीटर बचा है, पुणे 30 किलोमीटर है, पर मैं अभी क्या करूँ? But I think now there is enough. Like
Yeah.
this was 2.5 years ago when I was
Yeah.
considering. Now there is enough evidence that people have been doing. a
It's
lot
the
of it.
fastest evolving tech in the country. So
Right.
I think 2 years down the line when we are talking, this is not going to be the problem that we'll be sitting at. It's going
Got
to be
it.
different.
Got it. Friends, if you like this clip, then please go watch the entire episode and also subscribe to the channel for more such clips and episodes. Enjoy your life. Thank you very much.